Okay guys, so we are here today with Chips, and Chips is a lovely boy. He's very sweet natured and a little bit of a sensitive soul, but he's just looking for someone to love him and give him a really good home. So Chips has been here with us for a few weeks, but he's still very green for his age, and he can get a little bit tense at times. He hasn't done anything dirty or naughty, but he does need a little bit of work. He's a bit of a project at the moment. He also has a little bit of challenging feet. They can be managed, but they do need to be done quite regularly by a competent farrier to help him stay comfortable on his feet and not get too footsore. Being this time of year, he is about coming up to probably needing to be done again. So if you see any little scratchy steps, that's just probably where he's at with those feet. But anyway, so Chips' owner is really lovely. It's not about the money, this sale. She's trying to do the right thing by him and just find him a really good home. So she's sort of all reasonable offers are considered at the moment. And yeah, she was sort of hoping to get something between the $500 and $1,000 mark, really for him, but just to cover some of the training and stuff he's had here and whatnot. But yeah, he's a very sweet boy. He just needs someone to get him going and spend lots of time with him, and he'll be amazing. But he's definitely not been dirty here with us or anything like that. He just needs the work. So whenever you're ready, Ben, let's have a little bit of a trot and we'll have a look. So at this stage in Chips' training, it's really just about trying to establish consistency and regularity. Now he because he sort of hasn't had the consistent work, he can become a little bit hollow over the back, and I think some of that is probably due to muscle build-up from not having heaps of recent dressage work. So one of the big things we're looking at with Chips to try and get better is that he sort of starts to soften over the back and stretch down and out in the contact, which he is beginning to do, but it hasn't always been easy. Now, I think the key to accessing that is flexion. Okay, so you'll see Ben has just sort of established a regular rhythm here, and he's going to start to ask Chips to flex to the right. If Chips resists and blocks him there, Ben will probably make a smaller circle or a turn to the right just to help unlock that. And that will put Ben in a position to then push him away from that inside leg. Chips is still learning that when you apply that inside leg just on its own, that he should move away from it and not speed up. So Ben might have to make a little bit of a check on the outside rein when he pushes him off the inside leg to just say, hey, not faster, a little bit more yield through that right rib cage, which is going to help. Then it's going to give him that kind of lateral suppleness and stretch over his back that then encourages him to reach down and out. So even though we're trying to get him to reach downwards and stretch out, moving him side to side and thinking about the lateral bend is kind of the key to that, and that's really important to remember. Yeah, once you get that, as you can see there, Ben's just playing a little bit with the balance in that, coming down to that downward transition. So once he does start to lower and stretch, he obviously finds that quite difficult at this stage. So then it becomes a matter of finding balance in that so he doesn't lock down and start to lean too much. So you might see Ben making some changes of tempo here. So he'll kind of go do his flexion, push him over, and then Chips will probably stretch out and down and maybe lean a little bit, and then Ben will say wait, not too fast, or he might make a few walk steps or a transition. But yeah, okay, so I was just talking about the leaning. So yeah, Ben's just saying to focus on that. So you can see now that Ben's freed him up, so he's stopped him from being hollow now, but Chip's still being a bit weak and trying to figure things out and trying to avoid actually using himself, I'm sure. Then goes to the other extreme, and the next way to offload working properly is going to be to come a little bit onto the forehand. So you can just see now Ben's just making lots of different varied half halts in between here. And then once Chips comes into balance, you can see Ben's really soft. Okay, and it gives him the chance to make that mistake again. And that's important, you know, there's no point holding him when he leans or holding him when he comes back up. We have to just correct it and then be soft again. Good. Do you want to go the other way? So here's another opportunity for Ben to get that right flexion, right rib cage. And through the change of rein, we're going to really sit up, open, organized for the left flexion, move him off the left leg. Most horses do flex and bend better one way. Is this Chip's better way, Ben, or? No. Okay. I think this is his worst way, apparently, but it looks like a good start, though. So you can see here, this time Chips is actually resisting the left flexion. Okay, and it looks like when Ben asks for the left flexion that it's going to be quite difficult for him to separate that from the left neck bend. So you can see him, he's kind of asking, but he can't just, there we go, but he can't just go all in with it and then risk losing getting too much left neck bend. And then what will happen is that the right shoulder will fall out. And while he's in that position, he can quite easily have left neck bend, right shoulder falling out, and no actual flexion left. That's it. So what is interesting though, this way, although the flexion seems a little bit trickier to get, he's not leaning as much, would you say, Ben, this way? He seems a little bit lighter. That could be that it's just that Ben already corrected it on the right, or it could be that he's a little bit stronger on the left hind leg, which is where he finds his balance. Just things to be aware of, guys, just a couple of notes. So you haven't seen Ben making so many changes within the pace and transitions because he's really just thinking about, you can see that little bit of sort of tightness around the throat lash area where he needs to let go a little bit more. So that's there. You can see the resistance when Ben starts to unlock that. Did you want to have a canter or? That looks good. You can just see Ben changing the shape of his circle a little bit. If he turns a bit tighter, it sets him up to then be able to push him around a little bit more or make a change of rein. Now going back to the right, we have to think about, okay, what was happening on the right side? Flexion first, then yielding, and then here he comes to snatch a little bit. So that would just tell me that he's probably a little weaker on that right hind as well, if it's sort of more one-sided. Good. So Ben's priority here is, again, just keeping a little bit of right flexion because that's going to help set his body up to stay in the best balance that it can and keep that right hind under the body, which we suspect is, you know, just developing strength now. You can see there, it gets a little weak through that turn as he starts to let go. So this is the thing, guys, the better the work becomes, the more physical it is for Chip. So that's where those little evasions and things are going to creep in, and we just have to watch out for them. Nice work. Good. So when Ben starts to prepare for the downward transition, he's going to probably do a bit of turning, yielding. Yeah, nice. That was so nice. Well done, Chips. So we'll just do a quick canter the other way. We're going to do another one this way, I think. Just see him not quite coming around that right leg yet, so Ben's just playing around with that, just taking his time. There's no rush and no pressure with it. That's it. Just all about, yeah, getting that suppleness. And that suppleness comes as well, you know, longitudinal suppleness in terms of over the back, you know, from the tail over the top line up to the pole, which is something that, yeah, he has struggled with. Even transitions, you know, shortening, whether it's there within the pace or... Okay. Sorry, guys, Chips just stood on himself, so I just had to pause and give him a second to kind of regroup. It's one of those sensitive thoroughbred souls, so, you know, when they knock their leg or something, it gets very dramatic. But he's okay now. How does this canter feel comparatively? This feels weaker, okay. He looks more bendy this way, but yeah, like probably, yeah. Chips was quite green in the canter before he came here, so we've done a lot of work on that and it's really starting to come along, but it does have some way to go. There we go, that's looking better, feeling better. Then just got a little bit more left hind under into that right rein there and straightened up, which meant that he was able to push the canter out a little bit more forward in balance. So now that canter quality looks like it's improved quite a bit. And then of course when you're able to kind of straighten up and get a little bit more impulsion like that, then we can feel the benefit in the contact. You know, they start to soften up and stay a little still and light and find their self carriage as well. So yeah, good. Whenever you're ready, Ben, you can find your walk. Good stuff.